right, everyone, welcome to this week's Corn Belt Umpires Association Zoom Lunch Clinic. My name is Jake Samp. I got Connor Stingheisen as well here. Today we are discussing the wonderful world of appeals. Last week we kind of talked about how to initiate a crew consultation. And so I know we've done this topic before, but the discussion of what can we appeal and more so how do we appeal is going to be what we're going to talk about today. As always, if you have questions, feel free to use the hand raise feature, drop in the chat, or just unmute and ask your question. If you got any questions, comments, or suggestions for future clinics, please do reach out to Connor or myself. We got a handful of ideas. It just kind of comes down to when we're able to do them. And so without further ado, I'm going to just briefly go through a couple reminders. Our local Umpires Association meeting is next Wednesday, the 15th at Tailgaters in Brandon. It's right off the interstate on Split Rock Boulevard. And I realized I forgot to put the time in there, but it will be from 6:30 till about 9. We will be assigning most of the high school season that evening. As far as Chamberlain meeting, the Legion Commission has put in suspension penalties for ejections, and the high school has reaffirmed theirs. So now we actually have some teeth behind ejections in South Dakota. 24 hours is, I guess, what was decided on for how long to file the ejection report. In a couple weeks, we're going to do a rules meeting on the new high school rules, but one of the new high school rules is we no longer have to enforce the no jewelry rule unless in the umpire's judgment it is a hazard. Some of you may have heard, but dues are now due on the 1st of April. That just brings it in line with all of the other deadlines. So that's really the big couple. There's a couple other ones, some more business related things that were decided on. Those are kind of the big stuff. So let's talk about the types of appeals. We can have as we talked about last week, we have appeals for an unmistakable, or excuse me, an appeal must be an unmistakable act, meaning you have to know what the it can't just be
make it obvious that their intent is to appeal the play. They can't just accidentally wander over third base on their way to throw the ball back to the pitcher and touch it, and that does not have that constitute an appeal. It has to be an unmistakable intentional act of we are appealing this play. The runner left early, which is like 99% of them, right? Check swing, failure to retouch, batting out of order, whatever. It has to be obvious that that's what they're trying to do and not just an accidental, oh, well, the runner left early and I accidentally stepped on second base as I'm throwing the ball back to the pitcher. Or I step on it intentionally to throw it back to the pitcher, but I'm not like, hey, I haven't made it obvious that I'm appealing. Everybody and their mother should know that this is an appeal and we are attempting to appeal and what they're trying to appeal. And I always ask, because they're always going to say, hey, we want to appeal. Appeal what? Because then I know what I'm ruling on. Because if I think they're appealing him leaving early and they say we want to appeal that he missed the base, like, so we have R2, R3, and we have a fly ball, and they step on third, and they say we're appealing. And I think they're appealing the runner leaving early, but they're appealing the failure or a missed base by R2, and I call the wrong runner out. Well, now do we have a score or not? And those are the things we have to think about when we have appeals. Sorry, Jake, I'm done.
No, I got a text message that totally popped up and threw me off. So a couple other things. A lot of appeals will not follow the proper procedure. meaning teams will frequently go through what we call the dead ball appeal procedure, even though it's technically a live ball appeal. The use of the improper procedure does not nullify an opportunity to appeal. So we'll talk about what a live ball appeal looks like versus a dead ball appeal. So under NFHS rules, the two types of appeals you have for missing a base or leaving a base early, and there is the rule reference. A couple years ago, they removed 86A3. Live ball appeals, any fielder in possession of the ball, you touch the base that you're appealing at. I like Connor's point. Make it known why they're appealing, because you don't want to give the wrong signal because you think they're appealing one thing as opposed to the other. Anything else on live ball appeals, Connor?
Make sure we know, I haven't seen the slides. Are we covering how that process should look as far as umpires doing it?
Should be, yeah.
Okay. Then nothing. I've got nothing to talk about.
Okay. Dead ball appeals. This is what you're going to see the most frequent because coaches and players don't know any better. So under NFHS, a dead ball appeal will can be verbal. And this is done after time has been called. I guess I don't remember if I've ever had a verbal appeal in NFHS. They've always done the go to the rubber, step off, and throw the ball.
They're going to verbally appeal, but they're going to make their 99.99% of the time, they're going to be like, throw it to third. Connor, I think he left early. Did they use the word appeal? No. But is it an obvious act of what they're doing by stating that? Yes. So even if we have a dead ball, they're still going to, they may just say, coaches say, hey, I want to appeal that he left early. Then by rule, we have to make a ruling on that without them throwing the ball to second base or first base because they're afraid their pitcher is going to get the yips and throw it out of bounds or throw it out of play. So verbal appeals are legal in FHS.
Under official baseball rules, so this would be for Legion baseball or amateur baseball in South Dakota. An appeal is the act of a fielder claiming violation, and our procedure comes from Rule 509C. It's basically the same as high school, except under OBR, there is no verbal appeal option. Under the NCAA, this is where we find the wonderful verbiage that a lot of us will use during a game. This unmistakably indicates an appeal. The phrasing does not appear in the high school rulebook, nor does it appear specifically in OBR, but the unmistakably indicates an appeal. It's really good verbiage, and I think that from a enforcement standard, it really cements for an umpire that it needs to be obvious that everyone needs to know that there's an appeal. So we're going to talk about a dead ball appeal, courtesy of our friends over at Close Call Sports. Do you have any questions so far? Can you all still see my screen? Do you have YouTube up?
Yes. Yep.
Great.
You're good.
All right. I don't know why it's deciding to play on YouTube, but
Jake, I cannot see it playing. I just have the
Okay.
screen
PowerPoint.
there, which means you probably clicked on the link to watch it on YouTube.
Yep.
There we go.
There we go. So this is a double A game. Yeah, it's double A. So home run, great job by, I believe that's U3 to make sure he touches second base. And our plate umpire doing a great job watching, being very discreet about it. Does a really good job. I mean, this angle is not the greatest angle, but he's clearly looking right at it. And I think there was another angle that got shown somewhere on like Twitter or something that it was he clearly missed the base. So we have a dead ball appeal here because a home run is by rule a dead ball with a 4-base award. So what we need to initiate a dead ball appeal, we need batter in box, catcher in box, pitcher on rubber. Ball is put in play. Pitcher legally disengages. We now know we have an unmistakable act of an appeal here. Catcher steps on the base, and the plate umpire points to the runner, calls him out. And this is textbook. And now we have the manager coming out because he wants an explanation. And that's kind of the nuts and bolts of a dead ball appeal. Any questions on that?
Can you rewind it like 6 seconds? Because it shows on the video that in words that the umpire signals to the press box. But we don't actually see him. I didn't actually see him signal.
Yep, he did. And we can talk about what this. So one thing I love about close call sports is they'll catch everything here. So he puts his mask on, and just right there, he does this waving motion. I'll pull it up again here. It's kind of in front of the catcher, so just watch and you'll see the umpire's hands from behind the catcher. That just indicates that the run does not count. It's a great signal to use whenever we have a time play at home plate. And if you go back on our YouTube channel, we did a whole video last season on different time plays and how to handle time plays. But you'll recall from that video, we're waving off a run or we're scoring a run. So it's
on that. This is not waving off a run. This is waving off a run. This is safe and we're scoring it. So know the difference of we're this, right? And he just does this right here. On that situation, that's a high. I mean, you're calling off you're disallowing a home run because of a violation. To me, it needs to be bigger, right? I'm going to point to the dugout and probably wave it off once or twice and let them know. And then turn around and verify that run has been taken off the board, because once he crosses the plate, the scoreboard operator is going to add that run. So check and make sure you know what the score is. Wave it off. Don't start put the ball in play until that's corrected on the scoreboard. So, and I think I'm gonna make a note to come back to this if we have to, because I think it's in here. But we'll kind of talk about like body language of umpires when we have these type of situations. Next one. This is a great live ball appeal. There's a couple good videos in here, so we'll just hit a couple of them. I'm going to mute this first one just because I don't know who the announcers are. The next one's Ben Scully, so I might turn the audio up a little bit. Hunter Wendelstedt is your first base umpire here. Nelson Cruz, it's a pulled foot swipe tag situation, so plate umpire makes sure we're up on the line on that. Now I'm gonna rewind this here because we talk about an unmistakable act and communicating what we're appealing. We have the tag there, and the first baseman doesn't do really anything. And so Wendelstedt here is umpiring this the way that he should be.
he's not tipping off the defense that, hey, he totally missed the base. The safe sign is very easy explanation. No tag. And so he's just standing there, and now the first baseman gets his attention, clarifies that that was an appeal, and now we call Nelson Cruz out. It'll be a good video replay here to show just how
And you
bad
notice on that, his mechanic is you stepped over the bag, you're out. He
Yes.
stays with that play. He follows the first baseman back, watches the tag happen. When the first baseman turns and says, hey, he missed the base, he goes, okay, that's what you're appealing? Yes, he's out. He stepped over the bag. You stepped over the bag, you're out. You stepped over the bag, you're out. And he's telling the story and telling everybody what happened. And that might potentially prevent the manager or the head coach from coming out to you. Now, if it doesn't prevent him coming out, at least he knows what you have already. And he's not thinking he knows what the conversation is going to be about, and you keep it to that. I just told you he stepped over the bag, he's out. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows what I had as the umpire, and there's no mistake of what I called. If the coach doesn't understand what you called because you just call him out, he doesn't know why. He's going to come out hot because he doesn't understand what happened. Whereas if you communicate verbally and with signals, you're going to head off a lot of those conversations already. Or at least make them a lot lower temperature wise when that coach comes out to talk to you about it.
And just to clarify and emphasize, the purpose of the safe mechanic Wendelstedt gave was to signify that there was no tag. This is not a force. While this is a force play, it was not an attempted force out. This was a tag play. So we're giving the safe signal to indicate no tag. Notice what inning we're in and how many outs we have. I think that was a pretty simple, it's really nice when you have 4 umpires out there because you got someone to watch every base.
Jake, before we get into this, Justin had a question about the last play.
Yep.
So his question, what would be the call if F3 would have stepped on the bag instead of tagging? It's the same result because we missed the base. We have the option to either tag the runner or step on the base in any appeal we have regarding the runner being safe or out, or a violation regarding a base. Leaving early, missing a base, failure to retouch, either one of those 2 are options.
You can, but the important, I think, caveat there, at least under the NFHS book where it spells it out, is the NFHS has it in the book, the option to still tag the runner if they're still on the field. Specifically, it's almost implied under both NCAA and OBR rules. And so if the runner has, like on the home run, the first video that we watched, this was a home run. So the batter runner in this case was already back in the dugout. And so the catcher had to step on home plate because the runner in which the play was being appealed was no longer on the field of play.
Yeah, you have either option. You don't have to do one or the other. You just have to do one of the 2.
I'll play this one here.
Oh, go ahead. Quick though, my question on that though is, so F3, so when BR runs past the bag and doesn't touch the bag, F3 goes out and tags him. What if F3 would have just tagged the base, or you stepped on the on first base before BR came back to first base? Would that still be an out?
Yes, you have the option to do either, as long as you do it before he returns.
The guy comes back.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, yep. Thank you.
there really was an appeal on that one. So we had a home run here. I think this will be the last one we do for live ball appeals. I guess this is actually technically a dead ball appeal. It's just one big compilation video that I found that had a bunch of different appeals in it. Pretty self-explanatory. Craig Counsell gets this explanation.
Why did the batter run away from the plate?
Oh, who knows? All right, so I kind of put this together just as a little bit of a comparison. In a live ball appeal, it has to be an unmistakable act of an appeal, throwing to a base or tagging the runner. Verbal is, as I said before, only allowed in NFHS. It's a dead ball appeal. We use this anytime time is called. For a dead ball appeal, the pitcher, catcher, and the batter need to be in their proper position. We need to put the ball back into play. Pitcher needs to legally disengage the pitcher's plate and then throw to a base. As far as what nullifies the opportunity to appeal, throw and pitch. So as soon as a pitch is thrown, we lose our opportunity to appeal. Balk in NCAA and NFHS only. The phrase "a definite break in the action," and I will be posting a PDF of the umpire manual that kind of goes over what a definite break in the action was, because you can have successive appeals and things like that, where you could appeal if you have two runners on. You could appeal that a runner missed home plate, and then there's a subsequent play. He misses that base. And so there's a lot of really weird things that can occur with appeal plays. And so this phrase, "a definite break in the action," and we'll come back to that. Once I get the PDF posted. A ball thrown out of play, that's college baseball only, or a play or attempted play. Check swings. My 2 cents on this: if you're asked to check, do it. There is no harm in checking down. I think you put out a lot of fires beforehand. If you go and ask, definitely something to pregame though. If you are working a college game though, you must go and check, or must initiate an appeal if there is one that is asked for. As far as what makes a check, where do we say yes he did versus no? NCAA did the barrel of the bat cross front hip. OBR, and I have a lovely typo on there, that should be NFHS instead of NCAA, because we actually have a rule in the NCAA as to what a legal swing is. In OBR or NFHS, did the batter make a reasonable attempt to swing at the ball? Notice none of this is hitter's hands broke or wrists broke. That's never found in the rule book. I really like the reasonable or legitimate attempt to strike at the pitch. And if you're going to catch any creef, which by rule you cannot argue a check swing because that is arguing balls and strikes. And after a warning, offenders are subject to ejection. If they want to come out and still argue with you, though, coach, in my judgment, the batter did not make a legitimate attempt to swing at the pitch. They continue. Coach, you've received your explanation. You are arguing balls and strikes. Should you continue arguing balls and strikes, you will eject yourself.
I'm going to chime in on this because I would say to handle it a little differently.
Go for it.
Obviously, what Jake said is absolutely correct. If a coach asks you to appeal when you as a plate umpire have a no swing, just do it. All you're doing is giving them a reason to nitpick at you if you say no to that. I use the NCAA judgment in pretty much everything because it's a solid, consistently thing I can use to say, yes, they attempted to swing. I may not use that verbiage when the coach asks about it, but I'm still going to use it. If I'm not certain, let me say this. When in doubt, they swung. In my opinion, and that's my opinion. That's how I rule on it. When in doubt, yes, that's a swing. Because it's so hard and so finite from where you're at. They put you in a position to rule on that because they didn't make a decision on their own. And when you go back and when I watch videos of check swings that I've had, 99% of the time, if I said no because it was close, they win. Brad, I'll get to your question here in a second. So how I'm going to handle this is like chirping from the dugout. I'm probably not going to address it unless it's prolonged. Like they're going to have a reaction, right? There's emotion in the game. We can have reactions. We're okay with that. It's when it becomes prolonged, profane, or profuse that it becomes an issue. A player saying something or asking something, I'm probably just going to be like, yeah, you did, or ignore him, right? If a coach leaves their position to argue it, or to ask for an explanation, coach, stop. You can't argue this. This is balls and strikes. And if they continue, then I'm just going to eject them. They know the penalty already. We don't have to warn them for leaving their position to argue balls and strikes. Leaving your position to argue balls and strikes puts you at risk of ejection. And I'm just going to say, coach, you can't come out on this. If you continue, you're going to be ejected. And then let them deal with it. But I'm never letting a coach get close enough to me to have a conversation about the judgment in it. I'm just going to say, A, I have to appeal. If I'm the plate umpire, I have to ask. I don't have an option. And B, I'm going to not let them leave their position to argue balls and strikes. And if I'm on the plate and they come out after the partner, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to say, hey, you can't come out on this. If you come out, you're going to be ejected. Or if you leave your position, you're going to be ejected. Because that's what the rule book says about balls and strikes. Can you warn them? Yes, but once they leave their position, not necessary.
Does that answer your question, Brad?
Yep, that takes care of it for me.
Sounds good. I'm just double checking here to make sure I have the phrasing right. This is important because I've seen this on occasion. Appeals on half swings are only allowed if the original pitch is called a ball. The offense does not have a right to appeal a swing call. Just something important to clarify. And also the appeal is still a live ball. It's not a dead ball appeal. And I don't know if I have two strikes in here, Connor. But let's talk about a check swing with two strikes.
Before we get to that,
Yep.
One other thing on check swings that I also see a lot of from umpire says, well, I'm in B or I'm in C, so I don't have a good look at that. That's a cop-out. Especially at the high school level and the OBR level, because it's all it is what do you think? What's your opinion on it? Was their intent to swing at the ball? Make a decision and stick with it. And when the coach says, oh, you can't call that from out there, the rule book says I have to, coach. And in my judgment, he swung. Whether I'm in B or C, righty or lefty, it doesn't matter. If they swing, go get it. If your partner doesn't have it. Your partner can miss something fairly obvious for a lot of reasons on swings or check swings, because we either stay with the baseball too long because the pitch is that tight, or we stay with the baseball too long because we forget that we have responsibility for the swing. And how we do that, stay with the baseball until it doesn't have a chance to be a strike. And once it doesn't have a chance to be a strike, then we find the bat. Pitches in the dirt, catcher goes down, we're blocking, we're tracking the baseball, and we have a check swing. We may not get to the bat in time. And our base umpire has to come with a legitimate, honest opinion on a swing or no swing, if asked. I'm tired of guys using the cop-out of, well, I can't call that from B because it's a left-handed batter. Yeah, you can, because it's your job to do it. So do it. All right. 2 strikes.
Man, I want everyone to hold that thought of what Connor just said for the end of this, because there is a video out here on this. I have to find it, but we will play it. 2 strikes. Go ahead, Connor.
So with 2 strikes, there's a couple different trains of thought on this. There's the pro school thought, where with 2 strikes, anytime a check swing and the plate umpire says no, I don't know the exact phrase, but it's essentially an involuntary appeal. As the base umpire with 2 strikes and the ball is not caught by the catcher, the base umpire in the pro manual is supposed to come with an opinion even when not asked immediately. Ball, no. Yes, he did. Because what that does is, if we wait until we appeal, when does the catcher appeal? Picks up the baseball, tags the batter. Hey, will you ask on that? And you ask, and we bang him out. That doesn't give us a chance. That doesn't give the batter runner any chance on that to potentially beat out the throw. So I myself am not a big believer or big proponent of the involuntary appeal, because I do not work professional baseball. With that being said, I am always going to go unasked on a drop third strike situation with a check swing. I'm automatic. Boom. No, he didn't. Jake, did he go? And give them a chance to play the game the way it's supposed to be played. If I wait and I make them ask for an appeal, I'm doing a disservice to the game, not to the batter, to the game. And when we think about officiating, it's game, crew, self. I'm going to put the game first and take all my ego out of it and just automatically go to my partner for help on this play, because this is a drop third strike, because I want the game to be played the way it should be played. And that means it has to be fair. If we wait until the defense asks for an appeal, it's no longer fair. Did I cover everything the way you want it to be covered, Jake? Unmute yourself. Or just give me a thumbs up and we'll move on.
Yeah. If there's any other questions here, otherwise I have a quick video on check swing mechanic. Very, very simple. Let me reshare this. I'm trying to find a video here. So super simple on the mechanic here. Not going to spend too much time on this. Catcher points, umpire goes, yes or no. Any questions on that?
There's a couple different schools of thought on this. We have to be very careful with how we do this, because we have to make sure that we are clear to everybody that we are asking for help. If I go with my right hand, if I do this, what does everybody think I have?
Strike.
A swing. I'm calling it strike, right? Because that's what I do with my right hand. So they teach a lot of younger umpires to go with your left. I used to do that. I did that when I started. I'm continuing to advance and develop and make myself a better umpire. A lot of times I'll just underhand. Jake, did he go? Whether it's left hand,
Yes.
right hand, because I don't like crossing my body because then I'm losing sight of what's going on. If I cross my body and go to ask Jake this way, I lose everything over here. But Jake, did he go? And just very calm
Yes.
and cool and let him make that decision. But it's very obvious that if I hey, Jake, now I'm no longer calling a strike, right? I'm getting his attention. Did he go? And just request it. And he can make that call. I should be very cognizant that it does not look like your strike mechanic. And as long as you are verbally asking, it's perfectly fine. If you ever worked with me and you point to me and I'm anywhere in the field, I start doing this. And then I look at the first baseman and I go, what's he pointing at? I'm not going to answer a question until I'm asked. So ask me the question you want me to answer. Because for all I know, you may be calling that a strike, and then I come up and bang it safe. No swing, because that's what I've got. Now we're in a world of hurt. So always wait until your partner asks a question before you answer it. And that's probably the other important thing to note when we're talking about check swings.
All right. We got one more slide here I got to get to because I was pulling up a video here that Connor brought up. He just might not remember that he brought it up. But let's talk about last time by. If a runner, this is the gist of it. If a runner goes back and retouches a base, they are deemed to have corrected any previous base running infractions. Anything else, Connor? All right. So I'm going to stop the video recording right now.
Put
Okay.
the PDF in the chat.
Yes, I'm going to do that right now. So as I said, I was going to put the PDF version of the appeal plays ruling from the minor league umpire manual. It is now in the chat. Vaith, are you still here?
Yes, I am.
Did you get my text message?
I did not. Sorry, I'm on the road. I'll pull it up quick.
Okay. Well, I can talk through it too.